All right, y'all. Nightmare Comics 1, and I initially planned. This is my third take. I initially planned discussing every single bit of news from San Diego Comic Con. That is not plausible because a lot of shit happened. But what I will do is I will touch on certain things and maybe make another video later on and talk about everything. You know what I mean? But that shit is just simply not plausible right now because a lot of stuff happened. One thing I will say though, I kind of feel like DC had a better showing than Marvel. Like, you know, usually Marvel seems to kind of own Comic-Con, but not this year, bro. Like DC, you know, they unveiled a pick of Wonder Woman. You got announcements for Arrow and Flash and Gotham, and well, not really enough for Constantine, but it's not really many for Gotham either. We got new footage of it. And got new footage of Constantine also. They announced 2 new animated movies. New comics. It kind of went. It did work. Marvel did. You know, they did well. But the thing is that they didn't really unveil anything that was really that you know what I'm saying, that really came from anything that we didn't already expect. Like, you know, we actually didn't get any news at all about Daredevil, Heroes for Hire, Jessica Jones, or the Defenders movie. They didn't give us any other title in the cinematic U except Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And as soon as you see that movie, you know it's going to happen. I mean, I've seen it. My review is coming when the movie comes out. But I'll tell you like this. It's probably my favorite movie of the year. You know, but I looked at the movie a little bit differently than most people probably will. As y'all know, I'm a huge comic book nerd. I was a big fan of DNA's run, Danny Abnett, Andy Lannon. Their run on Guardians of the Galaxy, which this movie borrows a lot from their run on Guardians of the Galaxy. And just Cosmic Marvel in general borrows a lot from their run. So, you know, I was like, hey, it's even like subtle elements, not much, but very subtle elements of the Thanos imperative in this movie. It's freaking amazing, man. You need to see it. Marvel did well. You know, they announced their new animated series, the Guardians of the Galaxy animated series, and I will get into that. A little bit other info. Oh, the Ninja Turtles season 2 finale trailer is amazing. Some of the things they announced for season 3, you know, they're bringing back monsters from the past. You know, even the guy that voiced Michelangelo in the original series, he's voicing a character for this show. As I said, I wasn't the biggest Turtle fan probably until this show came out. Like, I liked them when I was a kid, but not like that. You know, then after this show came out, I went back, started reading the comics, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, this version of Shredder completely blew me away. So I was like, you know, yeah, let me check out some stuff. And, you know, so I know a lot of people will be very happy with what they announced. Before I get into anything, though, this was announced before Comic-Con. Turns out Nickelodeon, who, you know, and it's not going to be a Cartoon Network level rant, you know, as y'all know I've had in the past. But Nickelodeon announced that they're pulling the Legend of Korra. Well, they pulled the Legend of Korra from television, and they will be releasing an episode a week via the website, the Nickelodeon app, Hulu, and I think it's Amazon also. I can't remember. Because the ratings aren't where they want them to be. Funny stuff. When this show was on Saturday mornings for season 1, it was the debut of Legend of Korra was one of the highest rated debuts in the history of the network. I think it was the highest. If I believe it was the highest, I think. Dog. Like, there is a reason why the ratings have dipped, because you put it on Friday night. Friday night, if you're not a live action sci-fi television show, mainly Grimm, is where TV shows go to die. What did they think was going to happen? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's right, but, you know, whatever. but they've practically finished the 4th season from what I hear. So probably no matter what is coming out. So that that I'm alright with that. I'm alright with that. That's cool. But yeah, let me get right into everything. DC. Let me start with them niggas first. I'll probably talk about some of the comics later, cause well maybe a little bit here and there in this video, but definitely want to talk about Star Wars. But let's see, DC. We got a picture of Wonder Woman and new footage of Man of Steel. Well, not Man of Steel, but Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. I want to talk about Wonder Woman though. The one little gripe I've been hearing from fanboys is that, well, her costume looks like Xena's costume. I was like, dude, I'll take that over some leather pants any day of the week, or some blue pants, and some black leather pants, or some blue leather pants any day of the week, which people were nervous about. The one problem I do kind of have with it, it's not really a gripe, but if you unless see, this will probably be like a little bit of mix of an origin, so I'm alright with this, but. So she probably wouldn't even have ascended to earning her costume. See, the thing that people don't know about Wonder Woman's origin is that they go, well, she's an Amazon. If she's an Amazon, why does she wear the American flag? The thing is that she earned the right to be the ambassador from, for the mascara to the, to the outside world, the man's world. And she was going to America. So the fact that she wears the flag, the colors of the flag and shit like that, it's supposed to be homage to the country that she was, going to visit. Turns out she became a little too close with them. It was really supposed to be someone else, and then Diana went instead. Her mom got upset. Watch any fucking Wonder Woman origin story. Read some of the early Wonder Woman stuff, and you'll know why she wears the red, white, and blue. It's not just because she fucking feels like it, but But I guess they're going even earlier in the character's history than that. So I'm alright with that. Like, I'm alright with the colors. Now I thought about it a little bit more. Because at first when I saw it, I was like, But then I was like, it looks good. But I was like, I would have liked a little bit of the, red, white, blue, and gold. But, I see why. It's fine. I love Batman's costume, man. It's like an amalgam of, like, everything. It's like the Dark Knight Returns. I know the symbol is straight up, and the ears is straight up Dark Knight Returns. But the costume is kind of like Dark Knight Returns meets Capullo meets Jim Lee, and it's awesome. I like that shit a lot. I even like the fact that now he doesn't have pupils like he did in all those other costumes you'll see in in like the other movies and things like that. Like his eyes are just like white. Like kind of like there was an animated series and in the comics. Because to me, that's the most terrifying thing about Batman. Like, fuck the costume. It's the fucking whited out eyes. It's awesome. Superman looks the same. He looks a little bit bigger, but he looks the same. And that's fine. It works. But, people, I feel a little bit better after Comic-Con about the film, which is, the kind of the point of Comic-Con. So, kudos to them for that. I'm very excited to see what they do. I just hope they really pay attention to detail for all this stuff. But they pushed the movie back to make sure it's good. So we'll find out. I hope it's good. I'm not one of those people that root against DC. As down as I've been on the comics, which is very down, minus a select few. I still grew up with a lot of these characters. Grew up with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Grew up with Green Arrow, shit like that. Grew up with Green Lantern, really Green Lantern. Honestly, obviously, anybody know me know I love Green Lantern. The Flash, characters like that. Iconic characters from my childhood. So I want whatever crossover appeal they might have in the pop culture to succeed, man. I'm not rooting against DC, regardless of what people might think. So there's that. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Shit. Arrow. Arrow announced that. Let's see if I can remember everything because I'm not looking at notes. Ra's al Ghul is the main villain of season 3. Everybody called me crazy when I was like, they're gonna do this. Like, you watch, Ra's al Ghul is gonna be in this show. And most people's like, nah, bruh. Like, they can't do anything like that. He's too closely related to Batman. People associate Ra's al Ghul with Batman. It's just not going to happen. But you can tell they've been building this in season 1. There was even a shot of, like, this lady in red where she, she kind of appeared to be someone in a position of power. You know, I'm sure Slade will be in this season somewhere. Maybe just appearance doing something to maybe kind of hinder Oliver's life. I'm sure. They announced that Roy will be Arsenal in this season. Have you seen him like in costume? His costume looks even better than Ollie's. Like, his costume looks fucking incredible. I love it. I just wonder how prominent will he be in the series? They say he's supposed to have a more prominent role than he had before. We'll see. Because I hadn't been the biggest fan of how they handled Roy, minus here and there. It's not been terrible, but it's not really been stellar. You know what I mean? But to see him as Arsenal was really dope. I'm sure Thea will be, and she kind of dropped a little hint that people will see what Speedy's all about, something like that. She said. So I assume she'll be like the girl Speedy that Ollie had for a while. I can't remember her name right now. She really wasn't that important, to be honest with you. If we ain't talking about Connor Hawk or we ain't talking about Roy, and it's not really nothing to really talk about. But John Barrowman's gonna be a main character, a series regular, I heard. So that's dope. If you don't know, he plays Michael Merlin. He was the big bad in season 1. So he had a prominent role at the end of season 2. So that's dope. Wildcat's gonna be in the series now, which is also amazing. It says he's gonna have a big role with Laurel. So people are convinced that and Sarah's gonna be back in season 2. People are convinced that now this means Laurel's gonna be Black Canary and Wildcat's gonna train her, and I don't know if it's gonna go down like that. I assume Nissa's going to be back. I don't know if they said because her dad's going to be in the season. I'm not ruling out Talia al Ghul. They said all the universes are different, are separated. Like, except Flash and Arrow are connected. But they said that, Gotham is his own thing. Constantine is his own thing. So, I'm not ruling out the Bat family. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm not ruling it out. And so that would be cool. Apparently, Diggle's supposed to have a big role in this season, so that's always nice because I felt like he was kind of a background piece last season. Let's see. Obviously, they got stuff for him to do because just find out he might be he's gonna be a dad, shit like that. Katana's gonna be in this season, which is also dope. I didn't even bring up the Atom. Forgot about the Atom. The Atom's gonna be in this season. That's dope. Shit. What else haven't I talked about with Arrow? Apparently, Ollie's gonna ask out Felicity. But y'all get what y'all wanted. This is what y'all wanted. Me personally, I ain't really want that. It is what it is. But yeah, it's looking like they're just jam packing this. And it's gonna be something crazy, just a crazy. Oh, and the Vertigo thing. Looks like I was right. Like when people was like, I didn't like the count. The count was lame, and I was like, that's an important. Green Arrow. That's like Green Arrow's main villain. So I was like, all right, yeah. Like, I expect him to have a big role, and then they killed him in season 2, and I was like, well, I really doubt that was actually Count Vertigo, and it's looking like it was not. So, Peter Stormare is supposed to be playing Vertigo now, so that's dope, because he's a great actor. Yeah, man, this season, like, this was, to me, like, for me, this was, like, the most excited I got for anything at Comic-Con. Anything that was announced, it was everything that was announced for Arrow that got me the hypest. Because y'all know that's one of my favorite shows on TV. Everybody that looks and sees, it's on the CW. I'm not going to watch the shit because it's on the CW. I don't blame you, but make an exception for Arrow. And it's looking like The Flash also because I've seen the pilot, and that was amazing. But, definitely, make an exception for, Arrow. I mean, it's not, if you didn't like Smallville, like me, I know there are people out there that loved it, whatever. But this is everything that show wasn't. So just please check it out. Catch up. You got until October. Season 3 should be nuts. It should be nuts. I didn't spoil everything, but I spoiled some shit, but it should be nuts. Flash, they announced Captain Cold, which is awesome because that's one of Flash's main rogues. They announced probably his second most important villain. Grodd is supposed to be in the series at some point. Now I'm a little nervous because Grodd is a talking gorilla with mind control. I don't know how that's gonna work on TV to people that don't really understand the character. So I don't know, but I'm excited for that because as I said, next to probably Zoom, he's probably his most important villain. We all know Zoom's gonna be in the show. Thawne is actually in the pilot in a very different role. So I'm kind of wondering, I'm sure he will end up being Professor Zoom. We'll see that play out, but especially with his relationship with Iris in the show. So I just know that it's gonna be some shit there. So that should be cool. Flash looks great also. It's going to be episode 8 of both series will be a crossover episode or a 2-hour crossover event. So really curious to see what they're going to do with that. I assume that's probably going to be a Vertigo episode. I would think that'd probably be like Vertigo and like Captain Cold or something like that. I can't imagine that being Zoom and Ra's al Ghul teaming up or something like that. I think it would be something like that. But that should be awesome, man. That should be awesome, man. Like, we're really spoiled, bro. Like, we're really spoiled. Constantine dropped a new trailer, new footage. It looks awesome, man. Like, the more I see that show, I saw the pilot. I was very impressed minus some of the acting. But the guy that got to play Constantine nails it on the money. Hellblazer was a big part of my adolescence. So I really hope that this show takes off and does well. But I think it will. So yeah, there's that. They showed a new trailer for Gotham with, teasers to a lot of things. They showed more footage of the Penguin, more Catwoman footage. I'm excited about this too. Apparently the pilot is amazing. People that were at Comic-Con got to see it. So apparently it's amazing. So we'll find out soon. But it's not really much to really talk about because they didn't really go too in depth with Gotham or Constantine. I think they're kind of saving shit, to be honest with you. So it all should be great. They also announced 2 new DC animated films. We already knew about Throne of Atlantis, so I'm not gonna talk about that. It's pretty much Aquaman's kind of Aquaman's origin. Also the Justice League tying into the movie because Justice League Throne of Atlantis, but it's supposed to be mainly an Aquaman story. And I love Aquaman. Now, I didn't always when I was a kid, but I love him now. So this should be a lot of fun. Like, I love the character. I just hate it's the same Justice League from Justice League War, which if y'all don't know, I'm not gonna say I outright hated that movie, but I think the DC animated films, I think there are 2 bad ones. Like 2 ones that are considered that I consider bad. The rest I just think are just kind of okay. Well, not kind of okay, but the rest I think are okay, good, very good, great, amazing type deal. You know what I mean? But there's only 2 I consider aren't good and bad. That is Superman Doomsday and Justice League War. So do with that information what you will. It bums me out that they're the Justice League. We're going to get in this. Batman vs. Robin, which is loosely based on the Court of Owls story by Scott Snyder. If you haven't read that, you probably should because it's one of the greatest Batman story arcs. Like if you put together a top 20, it would probably be in that top 20 of like all time. So you probably should read that. And if it's loosely based on that, we should get a great movie. Then we got another movie, which is the one I'm most excited about, which is Justice League Gods and Monsters, which will probably feature the same Justice League from Justice League War, but Bruce Timm is the creative mind behind the movie. And if you don't know, Bruce Timm is the man that gave us Batman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, Superman animated series. Do I need to go any further? Like, this man is a legend in animation, not only just DC animation, but in animation in general. Like, one of like the living legends. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very excited about that. It's a completely original story, and everything creatively is handled by him. I really can't wait for it. The DC stuff I wanted to talk about? No, that's it. I thought DC had a great showing, man. DC, they announced a lot of things I'm really excited for. Now Marvel, not saying they had a bad showing, but aside from a few things here and there, nothing was all that, you know, mind numbing or earth shattering. You know what I mean? We found out a little bit more about Ant-Man. They showed some footage. Apparently Evangeline Lilly's character, if y'all know, that was Kate from Lost. I can't really think of her in anything else, but they announced that she's not Janet Van Dyne like a lot of people thought, like a young Janet Van Dyne. She's well, Janet Van Dyne's the wife. She's the daughter of Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym. So I assume she'll probably take the mantle of Wasp. You know what I mean? Let's see. What else we got? They announced Yellow Jacket to be the main villain in the movie, which is kind of weird. I mean, it works, but looks like we're not gonna get the Hank Pym personality disorder. Like this whole Ant-Man will be. They're gonna take liberties with the character. So if you really have strong ties to Ant-Man, and apparently they were gonna take liberties with the character from jump. So you have really strong ties to Ant-Man. It might get you upset. And, Edgar Wright's not directing anymore, so everybody's like, oh, this is going to suck now. It could very well suck. I mean, I'm not going to say it won't, but I will say that Marvel Studios has earned my trust, because Marvel Cinematic Studios, because to me, in my opinion, I don't think they put out a bad movie. I think they put out some ones that are okay. I mean, some ones that aren't as good as others, but in my opinion, I don't think they put out a awful movie. I think they put out some underwhelming ones, maybe, but not an awful one. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not gonna say Ant-Man could very well be their first awful one, but I'm not, quick to abandon ship on it like everyone else. I still want to see the movie. I'm a comic book nerd. I love Hank Pym. I mean, so there's that. So I at least want to check it out, see where it goes and stuff. And I heard the footage was dope. So, I just wish Edgar Wright would have, stayed on board. But creative differences, they do that. But my boy C-Dude 9590, he made a statement, and I don't wholeheartedly agree with him, but I think he was on to something. I'm not gonna say I disagree with him either. He said that Marvel's kind of like getting a big head now. They're trying to strong arm niggas into doing what they want, and I think that's kind of the case, man. This Edgar Wright thing is is kind of a demonstration of that. So it's unfortunate, but it seems like it's becoming the case. But as I said, I just have faith in them. Avengers Age of Ultron, they showed new footage of it. They had new props there. Josh Brolin, during the Marvel panel, Josh Brolin officially, came out of Thanos. He had on the Infinity Gauntlet, which we all knew was, we all knew he was going. Thanos was. We all know that's the third movie. That's going to be the third movie. In some form or fashion, Infinity, especially if you see Guardians of the Galaxy, Infinity Gauntlet will be in some way, shape, or form the third movie. We got a shot of the Vision, which on the poster for Age of Ultron, which is amazing in my opinion, because they put out these little pieces of the poster, and then the day of the Marvel panel, they revealed the entire poster together, and that poster is incredible, yo. Oh my god. It's like the Hulk with all these Ultron drones on him, and he's fighting them off. It's like Hawkeye with arrows all in these Ultron drones, and he's trying to fight them off. It's like Iron Man, he's trying to fight them off of him. Cap got his shield blocked. It's a dope ass, and the Vision's up there, and I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. I'm very excited for that movie. Oh my god, y'all wouldn't believe, man. I think we're really in for something special, to be honest with you. I don't know how to feel about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch being in it, because I just think that was just kind of, let's add some more characters, and I think that the cast, unless they're really going to add something to this story, I think the cast of the first one would have been fine, man. Even in the first movie, I think Jeremy Renner's great, one of my favorite actors, and Hawkeye's one of my favorite characters. But if there is a flaw with the first movie, is that Hawkeye was kind of just like there for a lot of the movie and really didn't do much until the end. You know what I mean? And at the end, they all got a chance to shine. But but I'm just saying, it's kind of unfortunate, that they decided to add more people, including the Vision, who, if they do it like, the Vision, Ultron's going to create him and he's going to turn good, and that's, what I'm saying? It's just a lot. It's a lot, I don't know. Like, I think the Vision, I think if you're going to do an Ultron movie, you got to include the Vision, so that's cool. What else did they talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Lucy Lawless is part of the cast. A few other people are part of the cast, but the main thing I want to talk about is that Mockingbird is going to be in this season, and that is dope because that tells me that at least Hawkeye will be in this season. I guarantee you. Maybe not in that big of a role, but he will be in this season at least for a little bit, and that's dope. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really picked up at the end of last year, or at the end of last season, like after Captain America 2. It went balls to the wall. Shit just hit the fan. And it became like a great show. So, I'm really excited to see where they go with it. Lucy Lawless, I loved her since I was a kid. So, that should be fun. It should be fun to see what they do with her. What else did they announce? What else did they talk about? Nothing else, really. I think. Oh, and they announced Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We all knew that was coming anyway. So, the animation department, we know we're getting season 2 of Agents of Smash. I will say this. I'm not the biggest fan of Ultimate Spider-Man, but this Spider-Verse event with like all the Spider-Mans from different universes, and they said they kind of changed some things up with the format of the show, really has me intrigued. Maybe, because season 1 I thought was awful. Season 2 I don't think is awful, but I don't think it's good either. I don't think it's okay. I think it's just bad. Season 1 I think is like just bullshit. Until like the last 2 episodes I think are pretty good. But it's bullshit until then, in my opinion. And minus the Thor episode. Everything, it goes like this. The Thor episode, the first episode is, the first 2 episodes are funny, but I wouldn't call them good. The Thor episode is awesome. And the last 2 episodes are pretty good. But everything else is kind of bullshit. Season 2 has some good episodes, man. Great ending with some good episodes here and there, but the body of it was just kind of whatever. Like I thought the Hawkeye episode was really good in season 2. Season 3, like they're doing the Spider-Verse event, and I'm actually kind of excited for it. I want to see where things go with it. Let's see what else. What else did and they're making a Guardians of the Galaxy animated series, which I don't know how I feel about it because I ain't the biggest fan of their current animated universe, and it's supposed to tie into all that. And I just don't know, like seeing Groot in a damn flower pot, just I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I mean, he grows and shit. If you've seen him on, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just, I'll wait and see. Avengers Assemble. They announced some stuff. Look it up because that show just makes me miss Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's all. That's all. Man, aside from that, what else did Marvel really talk about? They ain't really announced nothing in the entertainment front. Like, they didn't really announce anything else. They didn't announce anything else. But yeah, they had a good showing, but like I said, not a great showing. I talked about TMNT. Talked about Korra. All right, y'all. I'm getting out of here. I probably, you know what? There will be a second half to this video attached on. So if you don't care about comics, or if you do, stick around. This will probably be long. I'm going to tack on my thoughts on the comic book announcements on this video. So, yeah, stay tuned. All right, this is my comic book section of this. I'm not going to talk about every piece of comic book news because, dear God, it will be so much, y'all. Oh, my God. I'm just going to talk about the shit I'm interested in. As far as DC goes, nothing really, to be honest with you. I hate to sound like a jackass, but nothing I can think of. Like, if there's something, please tell me. Like, I'm going to look around as I do this video, but I can't remember anything they announced. that I would really give a shit about. So there's that. As far as Marvel goes, there are a few titles that have intrigued me. I'm gonna talk about the big ones, and that is the damn Star Wars influx. Now, this confirms our worst fears for Dark Horse Comics. Unless they said something about Star Wars thing around, which I don't know. Somebody have to ask someone else. But looking like Marvel's gonna be publishing all Star Wars comics. That's what it looks like. That's a little concerning because one of Dark Horse's main money makers was Star Wars. Unless someone knows something that I don't. I don't know. I didn't really go too in depth, but they announced 3 books, and the 3 books they announced is Star Wars #1, to be written by Jason Aaron, and art by, get this, John Cassidy. That tells me we'll get about one every 4 or 5 months, because that man and deadlines don't go hand in hand at all. So don't expect too many of those. Let's see. The next is the one I'm really looking for. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Cassidy book, I'm definitely looking for. I'm definitely looking forward to, because he's one of the greatest artists of our time, one of the greatest artists of the modern day era. But I just don't expect to get those. I mean, Jason Aaron is a hell of a writer, even though Original Sin is hella garbage to me. His Thor: God of Thunder, though, if Walt Simonson didn't exist, if JMS didn't exist, that'd be the best Thor run of all time, because he's kind of killing it. But he's giving both of them all they can handle and more, bro. Like, he's really, what I'm saying, he's really, really, really trying, what I'm saying, to make a name for himself with that character. Shit. What was I gonna say? Damn, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. The one I'm looking forward to the most is the Darth Vader book, which comes out next February. Written by Kieran Gillen, Young Avengers, amazing shit. His Iron Man, very good stuff. His Journey in the Mystery, if y'all remember, before Marvel Now. Some of the best Asgardian stories ever told. Probably the best low-key centered story of all time. Like, the man's a phenomenal writer. Art by Salvador Larroca. Now, if this man gives a fuck, incredible. You know what I mean? But if he doesn't, then, And the cover's by Adi Granov. Amazing artist also. Some of his Iron Man shit, breathtaking. His Spider-Man covers, amazing stuff. Then they got the Princess Leia book. That should be great though, because I love Darth Vader. Obviously Kieran Gillen's a great writer. That should be a great book. It would be kind of cool. You know what I mean? And apparently the prequels don't mean shit to these books, just like they don't mean shit to the influx of movies coming. The Darth Vader book is supposed to take place after the events of Episode 4, after the Death Star gets destroyed and all that stuff. So yeah, it should be dope. Then lastly, the Princess Leia book, which written by Mark Waid, which means I'm there already. Art by Terry Dodson, great artist also. That comes out in March. This should be great. I'm not 100% sure with where it takes place. I think it takes place during the events of Episode 4. But Mark Waid writing it means I'm there. That's just pretty much how it goes. That dude's one of the best writers of all time. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? They're giving Falcon his own series as Captain America. I gotta say, I know he's gonna retain all his abilities and all that stuff, which he should. And if you've been reading Remender's run on Cap, him being Captain America makes total sense. I just hate his costume. Like, they could have, I don't know, man. It seemed really lazy. It seemed very lazy, and it bothers me. What else? I mean, there's other stuff. The Star Wars shit is what really caught my attention. Oh, Image Image decided, hey, y'all want to make big splashes with news. We're going to bring creativeness and we're going to bring the best of the best to write their own stuff for us. We got Remender doing Tokyo Ghost, which, I'm very excited for. Remender is probably my second or third favorite writer right now. Joe Casey has a new book. I forget what it's called. I'm not looking at any notes. Let's see. Ray Fox is writing a new book, which should be dope. Who else? His book is called Intersect. Intersect. We got Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn's book, the Descender. That's coming. Jeff Lemire, I love to death. This man saved Green Arrow from obscurity. The man is a great, great writer. Dustin Wynn, his Batman stuff is really forgotten, which is sad because I think a lot of the artists that people look at as some of the best Batman artists ever, I think he's better than a lot of those dudes. I think his Batman is better than a lot of those dudes. But he don't get the credit he deserves, I think, for his Batman, in my opinion. That's just me. Kurt Busiek news, but how forget about it? Kurt Busiek's new Image title, Tooth and Claw. And pretty much anything that this man puts out, I'm going to at least read. It's supposed to be set in a different world about people that are part people, part animals. What else? The animal people have lost touch their human side. I think they want to go back in time to find their human side or some shit like that. It seems cool. Look up the comic book announcements because there was so much. It's kind of easy to touch on the entertainment announcements because you can just jump on them and just move on. But Comic-Con is Comic-Con for a reason. And I would recommend going to comicbookresources.com if you're curious about any of the comic book announcements. Those are just some of the ones that I thought were really intriguing to me. Image pretty much going, hey, we're going to, be the most creative company out there, and we're going to push quality over, making a splash, you know what I mean? Marvel going, well, things we built in Marvel now, either you love it or you don't, but you got to respect it because we've done our due diligence to kind of push this universe further and actually expand on the things we set up. As I say, I'm the biggest fan of DC Comics right now, so with Azzarello leaving Wonder Woman, I'm just kind of curious on how much I'm actually gonna really invest in Wonder Woman now, and that was one of my favorite DC books. I don't know. I'll probably talk more about this later. But anyway, y'all, that concludes my coverage of 2014 Comic-Con. Nightmare Comics 1, signing out. Gonna go watch The Leftovers. Peace.